How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We're back with another FPL video live stream, and today we're going to be talking about Game Week 37, the double game week, last double game week of the season, before the big showdown on the Sunday, and things have hotted up with Spurs getting a win over Arsenal, leaving them just 1 point apart with 2 games each left to play. Title race is still technically on, although City just seem to be sliding away from Liverpool at the last moment, although they do have some injuries to their back line, which could pose a bit of problems. And we'll talk about some other picks as well for this double game week, and we'll talk about how the bench boost went this week as well. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff on everything. Pilot 526, just be interactive. It's always fun. I like answering questions. And so do others in the community as well. So before we start that, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So Fantasy Football Scout is fantastic members area. You can still use it till the end of the season as well. There will be a preseason offer basically when it gets updated and up and running. Typically that's usually around a week or so after FPL. Usually, I think, from what my recollection. It could be wrong though. In the preseason for next season. So I think the game last year came out in like first week or second week of July. I think the Premier League season is starting slightly earlier, so it might come out late June. So we might literally have, it might be like Champions League final 3 weeks later, hey look, FPL's up. So that could be a definite possibility, because I think the season starts like a week earlier or something because of the World Cup. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they're starting earlier, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. It's going to be very interesting with the whole World Cup thing going around. I don't know how the transfers are going to work around that. That's going to be really, really weird with that. Are they going to be like, you can do transfers or bank them up during that time? I don't know if it's going to be something special. We'll have to wait and see. But Fantasy Football Scout will definitely have all the information you need on the players in FPL, especially the likes of how Haaland did up until the World Cup and that sort of stuff, because we're going to have to figure out how to get Haaland in our team, probably because he's a striker for Man City. He's going to score a lot. So Fantasy Football Scout's got you covered. Preseason offer, 20% off. Make sure to check the link in the description. I'll make sure that is renewed come the preseason as well. So it might just be the same link. Who knows? But yeah, Fantasy Football Scout's excellent. It's helped elevate my FPL game this season, that's for sure. Without further ado, let's see how the bench boost team did. Oh, don't have the proper screen up. Hold on. I will get that sorted. Because we don't need that up on the screen, but we do need that up on the screen. There we go. Fantastic. Lovely. So the bench boost did pretty good. 125 points. Not sure what my safety score was, but I was only a couple points above the safety score, and then Kane helped me out a little bit. Son made it not as big, but really, really, really needed some players not to do what they did this week. Like, you know, got the differential points with Matip. That was great. Got away with Robertson not playing or getting a clean sheet. That was good. Laporte getting a goal, getting some points. That was good too. Foster did really well, and Nketiah did really well. But then you had the likes of Reece James and Mason Mount in the second game that burnt me. You have Son that burnt me in both games. De Bruyne somehow burnt me because he scored 4. I don't even know. But yeah, had I not had Salah captain, if I had gone with Son, who I was thinking about getting Salah rid of 4, I would have been in a much, much better spot, and definitely De Bruyne would have been absolutely crazy. And also, of course, Sterling rubs in as well. He got 28 points this week as well. So, but yeah, definitely happy because we got the green arrow. I think we went up around 1.5 to 2k places. If you're looking at the bench boost, if we took our lowest scoring players, that would have been Schmeichel, Cash, Coutinho, and Pukki, Alexander-Arnold, Saka. I would have still ended up with 18 points. So the bench boost was a success. Nketiah, I would have put on the bench over Matip, and even if you thought I would have put that the other way around, okay, fine. Matip's on the bench. I still get 25 points between Matip and Foster, plus the additional 9 points from Pukki and Gordon. So the bench boost would have been 34 points in that scenario. In this case, it ended up being, 29, 33, 38 points, which is really, really good. So we're definitely happy with that. So this season, triple captain was really good. Bench boost was really good. Free hits were decent from what I remember. First wild card was excellent. Second wild card was, I think, okay as well. So all of our chips this season were utilized very, very successfully, I would say. 110 points, that's probably a decent score as well. Probably a pretty good score. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check my safety score. What it was. Let's see. Just going to put it up on live FPL off to the side here. Yeah, so I needed 113 points just to break even. So, yeah. And I'm 37 points off the top 1K. Not impossible. I really have to get fortunate. Like, if I'm getting rid of Salah this week, which is possible, and bringing in Zaha, I need them to really hit. And I need to dodge a few bullets. So, yeah. Definitely going to need to be on point there. Definitely. But let's run through the team. So, Schmeichel would have played him over Foster 100%. Well, we had the bench boost, so it doesn't matter. 8 points, happy with that. The fact that he kept a clean sheet is a miracle, to be honest, because I think Norwich should have probably scored. Liverpool, they didn't keep a clean sheet in both games, but Matip came through huge with that goal. The highest scoring Liverpool defender in the game week, which was great. Van Dijk being second and Trent being third, which was quite nice. Villa boys, somewhat disappointing. Again, Watkins getting a goal. Could have gone Watkins and Son over Coutinho and Kane. That would have panned out definitely much better. Laporte and Cancelo, I mean, these guys have been huge. I've been very, very fortunate with defenders this season with Chilwell, Reece James, Cancelo, Laporte, Matip. It always seems like Laporte actually always scores in a double game week too, which is very, very interesting as well. Opinions for KDB for West Ham away. I think it could be a little bit of recency bias. I still think that West Ham, they always get thumped by City, to be honest. So I think he's a good option. But I think if you're on a free hit, I think you just go with the upside. I think you go with Kane. If free hits have got to be fun. Like I personally would go for the more dangerous free hit. I'm doing a free hit video tomorrow. So make sure to check that out. I'm going to have one that's going to be a little bit on the safer side, which is going to have like your Trents, Cancelos, and that sort of stuff. But a free hit's got to be, you got to be a little bit more exciting, usually, on this free hit. Although I don't remember my free hit being very exciting, to be honest. But it is what it is. The midfield was actually quite disappointing, to be honest. Salah, just the 3 points. Captaincy made it 6. Saka, just the 4. Coutinho, 3. Kulusevski, only just the 5. And Gordon with the 5 as well. So no goodies there. But Kane and Ketia doing very, very well. And then Foster with the huge 14-pointer. Huge 14-pointer. Did really well there as well. So with the bench boost score being 38. Yeah, I mean, just a fantastic, fantastic score. Could have been a lot more. If I had gone with Son, I would have been looking much, much better. I think I would have been like, if I had gone Son and Watkins instead of Kane and Coutinho, I think I would have been like 50 points better off. Like, so, yeah, Foster with nothing to play bangs. Yeah, it always happens. It always happens. In these double game weeks, there's always a defender that gets like goal clean sheet. And there's always a goalkeeper that does like ridiculous, and Foster just happened to be that one. So, yeah, doing quite well, So yeah, that was the team for this week. Let's move over to our predictions as well. So you saw the tweet that I had earlier. I wrote the differentials off on the side there, so we'll run through those first because those are easier to work with. So if you went with Pickford this week, you got yourself a clean sheet and you got a boatload of saves as well. So Pickford did quite well. Zinchenko, he got, I think, an assist or 2. He definitely was a very good pick this week. So Zinchenko was a very good pick as well. And Ketia, obvious as well. He was quite good. I don't think Odegaard got anything in this one. Yeah, Odegaard was the only differential pick that we didn't get right. And then Everton kept a clean sheet. So Odegaard was the only one. But our other differential picks, like Pickford, like Zinchenko, like Nketiah, did ridiculously well. So, I mean, by the end of it, Nketiah was like 50% owned in the top 10K, so it wasn't that much of a rank gain. A lot of people are getting switched on nowadays with the FPL community, especially towards the end of the season. Kind of expected. Kind of expected. Moving on to the actual predictions themselves. So if you don't know how it works, basically you get 1 point if you get just the result right. If you get the exact score, you get 3 points. If you don't get it right, then it's no points at all. And I got, 8 points in 35. So we'll see how we do in 36. Hopefully, I mean, it's the biggest double game week. If I don't get more than 8 points, then something's wrong. So hopefully we can get some exact scores right. So, Brentford versus Southampton. I predicted 2-1. It ended up being 3-0 in favor of Brentford, so we get the 1 point there. Burnley Villa, thought it was going to be a bit of a draw. I thought Burnley were going to get a point out of that, but Villa ended up beating them quite convincingly, 3-1. A late minute, that's another frustrating thing. A late last minute goal took away 4 points from Matty Cash. Could have really used those as well. So we got that one wrong. Chelsea was winning 2-1, and then they conceded a late goal versus Wolves. So that one's wrong as well. Palace 1-0 over Watford. We got that one correct with the 2-0 scoreline. So we got the result right, so the 1 point. I forgot that scoreline even happened. Man United losing 4-0 to Brighton. Let's just say we got that one wrong. Spurs versus Liverpool. Spurs could have easily won the game too. But we got it wrong. Ended up being 1-1, so we got that one wrong. Arsenal versus Leeds. We predicted 3-0 and ended up being 2-1. Arsenal actually making very difficult for themselves in that one. So just the one there. We predicted 2-1, but for the wrong team. It ended up being 2-1 Everton over Leicester. So we got that one the wrong way around. Unfortunately, prediction's not going well. But yeah, everyone can laugh at United. Honestly, if you're bringing in Zaha this week, I would say keep him because he's going to absolutely smash United. Former United player, playing at home, like, nothing but showboating probably going on. Like, just keep him. If I get him, I'm playing him versus United. West Ham versus Norwich, I mean, I predicted that was very conservative, 1-0, and then being 4-0. So 1 point there. Same with City, conservative, 3-0, ended up being 5-0. Liverpool, I predicted 2-0 over Villa. It ended up being 2-1, so we get the result right for that one. Weird start to that game, but Liverpool managed to claw it out in the end. I predicted Chelsea 3-1 over Leeds. The early red card caused some significant problems for Leeds as well. So the 1 point there. Leicester predicted 2-0 over Norwich, ended up being 3-0. Very comfortable for them in the end, so just the 1 point. Everton, Watford. I predicted Everton to win this one 2-0. They actually end up getting the win versus Leicester and then getting the draw here. So nothing doing on that one. City, I predicted 2-0 over Wolves. They ended up winning 5-1 because De Bruyne went absolutely crazy. So just the 1 point there. And then 1 point for the North London Derby. I predicted 2-1, ended up being 3-0. So overall, no exact scores, but a lot of the results right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. I should have got more than that. I should be getting more right, but we'll take it. It's an improvement. 4, 6, 8, 10 over the last 4 game weeks, so not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right. So, what are the storylines come from this? Well, United are terrible. Liverpool are letting the titles potentially race slip away. Chelsea, if they aren't careful, could lose top 4 if they lose their 2 games, and Spurs and Arsenal both win their 2 games. Spurs are now within 1 point, are 1 point away from Arsenal, and Arsenal have Newcastle away, which is very difficult, and Everton at home, who Everton might be needing a point on the last day of the season to keep their hopes alive. So we shall see. Let me bring up the notepad here. See if I can just make this a little bit bigger. put it more to the top to line it up a little bit. There we go. Right. So, Spurs versus Burnley. Now, my predictions were posted over, you would have seen me retweet them, actually, earlier today. Let me bring them up so that I can show you all. So, if you haven't seen, I post my predictions. They go over on fantasyfootballcommunity.com. So the notepad is kind of blocking a little bit, but the leaderboards, I'm not in the top 3, unfortunately. But we do have our predictions here. And my predictions are here for everyone to see. I don't know where I am in the actual the whole rankings, but I'm not very good at predicting stuff. Yeah, apparently I got 9 points, so I didn't come first, so which is unfortunate. So we'll move this across, and I can use it as my reference guide. So Spurs versus Burnley. I think that Spurs, I predicted that they would win versus Arsenal, and they need to win both their remaining games, and I think they're going to do that. I think Burnley are probably banking on getting some points from Newcastle on the final day of the season. I believe they play them, where is the fixtures? I believe they play them at home. Do Burnley play at home? They do play at home. So that would probably be the game where they're saying this is where we potentially get a point. If we're looking at the Premier League table as it stands, so every team has played 36 games, barring Everton and Burnley, who have 35 each. And Man United, Aston Villa and Palace, who have 35 each as well. And then Man United, who's plays 37. So Man United is the only team to not play this in Gameweek 37. So everyone will have 37 games going into the last day of the season. So the way it stands now is for the top 4 race, Chelsea are on 70 points, Arsenal are on 66 points, Spurs are on 65 points. United cannot get 4th, but they can become 7th. So West Ham most likely going to lose to City midweek. They'll go into the last game of the season with United being 3 points ahead, but a much worse goal difference. So as long as United get a point, they secure Europa League, whereas West Ham will go in the Conference League. That's assuming West Ham lose to City. Spurs and Arsenal, if they win both of their remaining games and Chelsea were to lose both their remaining games, although Chelsea play Leicester and Watford at home, Chelsea would not make Champions League. But as it stands now, Chelsea only need, I believe, so Spurs are the lowest, so they're 5 points behind. So Chelsea get 1 point from their next 2 games. They're pretty much secure because they have a plus 19 goal difference over Spurs. So the likelihood is they will be more than fine. Spurs need to win both of their last 2 games, and Arsenal need to get a minimum of matching results versus Spurs. Otherwise, they will not make Champions League if they were to win both their games. Because Spurs have a much better goal difference, so Arsenal need to be a point ahead of them. Man City and Liverpool. City are up +7 on goal difference over Liverpool with 3 points extra. City will most likely beat West Ham. If they do beat West Ham, then it's up to Liverpool to get a result versus Southampton to go into the final game week of the season, with City being up probably around anywhere from 3 to 5 goals, or 3 to 7 goals up on Liverpool, and both of them looking to win their home games. Liverpool play Wolves, City, play Villa. So the title race is probably locked up. Top 4 race and the European places, not so much. If we're looking at the bottom of the table, So there is a world where Southampton could get sucked into it, but I think the likelihood is that Burnley and Leeds are not very likely to get an extra 6 points. I think Burnley will lose to Spurs. I think Burnley will potentially get a point from Villa, but I don't see Burnley getting 6 out of 9 points from their 3 games. Southampton also play, I want to say it's Leicester on the final day of the season, and they might end up getting a point there. So Southampton are more or less safe. Newcastle, Brentford, all of them are safe. It's mainly going to come down to Everton, Burnley, and Leeds. So this current situation is Everton and Burnley have both played one less game. Everton's game in hand is versus Crystal Palace, and Burnley's is versus Aston Villa. Burnley are on 34 points, same as Leeds, with a much better... Leeds have the worst goal difference. Everton are on 36 points, so Everton are 2 points ahead. So if Everton can get a win at either against Brentford or Crystal Palace, that immediately puts them in the driver's seat. And then they don't have as much pressure on them away to Arsenal on the final day of the season. Although they, let's say they draw with Brentford. They get a draw from Brentford. They get the 1 point. Let's say Palace beat them, because I think Palace will beat them. I think I predicted Palace win. I hope I did. Did I predict a Palace win? I predicted a draw, actually. Funnily enough. What did I predict in the other Everton game? I predicted Everton win. So I'm predicting Everton to get 4 points. So if Everton do get 4 points, they're on 40 points, bang even with 1 game left to go. Burnley, I don't think are going to beat Spurs, and I think they will either draw or lose to Villa. But I think I predicted them to draw. And then Leeds against Brighton. Did I predict them to beat Brighton? I don't think so. Yeah, I predicted Brighton win. So Leeds could be... I think Leeds are probably the most likely in trouble. But it will still mean that Burnley needs to play for something on the final day of the season. Burnley have to play against Newcastle. I think Everton to be fully safe. They need 4 points before the final game of the season. So we will see kind of how that one pans out. They're currently comfortable. If they get a win, they're pretty much home free. Especially if Burnley lose to Spurs, and Leeds lose to Brighton. They'll be pretty much home free. But I kind of want it to be a little bit interesting. I kind of want Burnley to beat Aston Villa. I want Everton to lose to both Brentford and Palace. And then it's like last day of the season, you know, some or like Everton get a draw and a loss, like draw versus Brentford, lose versus Palace, Burnley upset Villa, and to put them on the same number of points with goal differences basically bang on, and then it's final day of the season. Everton need to get some points versus Arsenal. Burnley need to beat Newcastle. You want that on the final day of the season. Not as a fan of those clubs, but for the drama as a neutral. You want them. So that's kind of how the situation is at the moment. So, with that being said, I have predicted Spurs to win 3-0 over Burnley. I just think that Spurs need to win. They don't necessarily need to win by this margin, but I think they need to win. So I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be quite comfortable. I think Burnley, they'll be expecting... If Burnley are going to prioritize games, it's going to be Villa and it's going to be Newcastle. If they say we'll take what we can get versus Spurs, we have to wrap Cornet up in cotton wool. That's okay. That's what they're going to try to do. And I think Spurs should be able to handle Burnley at home quite comfortably. With no problems whatsoever. Even though it's a slightly quick turnaround, Spurs play tonight. They have 2 days rest, and then they play again on the early kickoff, the midday kickoff, UK time. But they should be okay. Spurs know that they have to win both games. They're going to play full strength. Son came off early tonight, same with Kulusevski. That makes sense to me. It's going to rest him a little bit. Son didn't look very happy. I think he's only 1 goal behind Salah in the Golden Boot race now, so that's going to be interesting to look at as well. Villa versus Palace. I've actually gone for a 1-1. Bit of a drab kind of result, to be honest. I think Villa are stronger at home. Palace are stronger at home, but I think Palace are playing better than Villa at the moment. But I think it's going to be a close game. I expect a draw in this one. I don't expect a win for either team. And it could be a quite competitive game. And Coutinho's to sign a new contract, which makes me believe that he's going to be back in the starting team again. Hopefully, because I have him in my team. So, yeah, I think that could motivate him now that his deal is finally settled, as it were. And for very cheap, too. Leeds versus Brighton. I went with a Brighton win. I think Brighton, they're playing well at the moment. I think that they're a team that are fantastic away from home. Every time I watch them play, they do play really, really well away from home. It's weird. Their home form's kind of awkward. Here's a stat for you. If they only played away games in the Premier League, Brighton would be in the top 4. If they only played home games, they'd be in the relegation zone, or at least before they beat United. But yeah, it's a really, really weird one. Watford versus Leicester. I think Leicester will win this one. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. Watford have nothing really to play for, neither do Leicester. This is just more of a formality, and I think the better team in formalities typically win in most cases. It's probably more like a testimonial game, not really anything going on there. Mind you, there's a bunch of games on at the 2 p.m. UK kickoff time. Fixtures that you're going to be more interested in, like the Man City West Ham game, which is actually quite a tough one to call, to be honest, but I'm going to go with just a standard 2-0. I think City will control the game. West Ham don't really have, they have potentially Europa League to get to, but I think it's a stretch too far. Even getting a result on the final day of the season, I believe they play Brighton, is still going to be tricky. United just need a point versus Palace, so might be a bit too far, to be honest. Wolves versus Norwich. I think could be quite easy for Wolves. Had Wolves not had this whole bust up and whatnot, I still think that Wolves are going to win though. I'm going to go with the 2-0. I think it should be easy on paper. For all we know, Norwich could win, but that's probably going to be the game that nobody wants to watch anyway, because everyone's going to be paying attention to Man City West Ham. Because if Man City beat West Ham, you're probably thinking, okay, well, it's pretty much over now for sure. Everton versus Brentford. I think I put Everton to win this one. I think the Goodison faithful will help them out, but I do think Brentford are quite good. I think this could be the game that causes them to potentially slip up. If they do get a draw or loss in this one, then you have a very tough game versus Palace and Arsenal. The Palace game at home, the Arsenal game away from home. I think this is the game. If they want to make their lives easy, they win this game, and you are comfortably in the driver's seat. And they would have already known the result of the Burnley game. Could be a three point swing over Burnley. They win this one, then they're pretty much home free, to be honest. Unless Burnley somehow get a win versus Villa. Newcastle versus Arsenal. Now, with my predictions for Arsenal, I've been actually not bad recently. Arsenal had Gabriel go off, looked like he was holding the back of his hamstring. They had Rob Holding suspended for a second yellow, so he won't play in this game. He will be available on the final day of the season. Ben White's only just come back from injury as well. And they haven't kept a clean sheet, I think, in the last 9 Premier League games. And Newcastle are at home. I think this could be the game that upsets Arsenal, could uproot them, and potentially put Spurs in the driving seat on the final day of the season. I've actually gone with a 1-1 draw. I think Newcastle are very good at home. They're going to want to bounce back from the defeat versus Manchester City. They have shown that they're much better at home as well. They also have the likes of Kieran Trippier and Callum Wilson back and available. I think they've been quite deficient up front with Chris Wood, not been the greatest signing for value. Trippier, being a former Spurs man himself, he will know about the North London derby. He will know about the fact that Arsenal are going for top 4. And if you asked him who would he rather in the top 4, I think he's going to say Spurs. So he's definitely going to be up for the game if he starts. It could be an interesting differential on your free hit team, even though he is a single game weaker. Southampton versus Liverpool. I mean, I think Liverpool win this one quite comfortably. Southampton are just conceding goals for fun. They're not careful. They might get sucked into the relegation battle, but I think it's a stretch, a very big stretch. It requires Leeds to win both their games, Burnley to win both their games, some crazy scenario, but I think Southampton are fine for now. Everton versus Crystal Palace. This is the one I've gone where Everton will draw. I think they'll get the win versus Brentford personally, although I can see them drawing the game. If they do draw the game, then this game becomes massive because versus Arsenal are going to need the win on the last day of the season unless they have already slipped up versus Newcastle and Spurs have leapfrogged them. Because if Spurs win and Arsenal were to lose this one. So if Arsenal were to lose versus Newcastle and Spurs won versus Burnley, you're looking at a situation where Spurs can get a draw and their goal difference is probably going to just carry them versus Norwich. But I mean, they're going to beat Norwich too, probably. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting on that front. But for Everton, I think should be no pressure here. Everton should be looking to get a draw out of every game. If they get a draw out of every game, I think they're fine. Assuming Burnley doesn't do anything crazy like win through on the spin or something. Speaking of Burnley, Aston Villa versus Burnley. I'm actually going with the draw here. I've gone with the draw here. This would put Burnley not available to basically... It's just going to be Burnley and Leeds fighting it out on the last day of the season if my predictions go correct. Well, my predictions haven't been correct, so we shall see for some games. And then lastly, Chelsea versus Leicester. I think Chelsea's going to win this one. I'm going to go with the 2-1. I think if you have Chelsea assets, I would say wait and see what happens in the FA Cup final. Because you can. Because if you notice, the start of these games are on Sunday. So you can wait and see what Chelsea do in the FA Cup final. If they win and your players play it in it, they're probably going to get rested in the Leicester game, and then they're going to play their best team on the final day of the season. That's probably what's going to happen. They like to entertain the fans a little bit. I mean, both Chelsea and Watford have nothing really to play for. Chelsea almost certainly will maintain their position. If all they need to do is get a point out of Leicester, and they guarantee themselves to pretty much be fine. Just because of their massive goal difference. Because even if they get a point, they're 6 points ahead of Spurs. If Spurs did win both their games, Chelsea would still have the game versus Watford on the final day of the season, and they would both be on even points. And even if Chelsea lost again, plus 19 goal difference, I think they're probably fine. So yeah, that's all the predictions. Let's go on to the clean sheet and differential picks. Who shall we go for the clean sheet and differential picks? Let's see. So for goalkeeper this week, Schmeichel's probably 18%. Is Pickford still there? I mean, I picked Pickford last week, but let's put him in there. 6.1%. Can't really go with him. Who's another double game week goalkeeper? Emi Martinez, maybe? He's 11%. He's quite high, actually. Quite high. How much is Guaita? Is Guaita injured potentially? He has a knock. So maybe Butland is the one to go. I mean, you talk about a differential pick. 0.4% owned. Let's go with him. I'm going to go with Butland. 0.4% owned. I'm also going to go with Crystal Palace to keep clean sheet. They're going to be my clean sheet pick as well. They are away from home, so it could be a little bit of a different story, but yeah. In defense, I like Mikalenko this week. I think he's very low owned, 0.9%. I mean, you can't see him for the notepad, but Ukrainian left back, Vitaly Mikalenko. 0.9% owned. Scored a goal in this game week gone as well. And is doing quite well. So I'm going to go with him. Crazy differential FC. Percentage cut off a little bit on the notepad, but that's fine too. The next differential is going to be a bit out there as well. Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi. You can see him there. 0.2% owned. Definitely a differential over the likes of Gordon as well. 0.2% owned. I think he's been playing pretty well, actually, in the games that he's been playing. Hasn't got many of the FPL returns, but has definitely been working well for the team, so could potentially provide some interesting stuff there. And then my last pick is going to be... Oh, Danny Ings actually 8.6%. I did not know that. How much is Watkins? Watkins must be up there too. 11%. Forwards. Jamie Vardy must be quite low. Jamie Vardy. Gotta get someone under 5%. All the forwards are kind of gone, actually. So maybe let's go for a little cheeky single game weeker. Maybe. Let's go for a little cheeky single game weeker. Let's go for Callum Wilson. Returning at home versus Arsenal. Callum Wilson. I know he's a single game weeker, but all the other ones are 5% owned. So we're going to go with Callum Wilson. Yeah, when he plays, he scores. And he's going to want to beat Arsenal, probably. Got disconnected from the chat for ages there in your back. Oh, hopefully your internet's working good, or maybe it's just Twitch. Twitch has issues sometimes. You feel any upside on Everton defense versus midfielders? I'll talk about that in my free hit a lot more in depth, but basically I think that Everton are kind of a weird one. I think Pickford is definitely one that you should have just because he's the amount of saves that he makes, or has been making. And then it's just a matter of Richarlison, Gordon, Mikolenko, somebody like that. I think most managers are going to have Richarlison and Pickford. It's just who's the other one that you want. So we shall see. But here's my team. This is my team currently, and you can see that Aymeric Laporte is currently flagged. I do have a bit of a benching dilemma if he does play, which is a bit of a problem. I'm going to move that notepad out of the way for you. I do have a bit of a benching problem with Laporte currently in the team. If I were to put him in there. Because it would be, who do I put Laporte in for if he was fit and available? Not really sure. I think if Konate plays versus... this is the advantage of getting to see the FA Cup final on the Saturday. If Konate plays, I mean, surely Matip plays versus Southampton. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Mikolenko, Gordon, Richarlison, Schmeichel in goal. Yeah, I mean, that's possible too. Anderson from Crystal Palace. I think if Gahey's out, then maybe that puts a damper on the Crystal Palace clean sheet prospects, but we shall see. Yeah, so this is the team as we have it right now. So we got Schmeichel in goals, got a double game week. We got Trent and Matip in defense with Cash with the double game week as well, and Cancelo. We have Gordon with the double. We have Salah with the vice captaincy. It's not going to stay there, almost certainly. With Saka, Coutinho with the armband, Kulusevski, and Kane with Foster, Laporte, Nketiah, and Pukki on the bench. I half tempted to play Nketiah over Saka as well. Nketiah looked much more lively, even when they had 10 men, Arsenal. So I'm not sure if Saka could be the one to go instead of Coutinho this week, to be honest. He could be the one to go. So this is what the team looks like currently. I mean, I have the armband on Salah, but you get what I mean. The transfers I was potentially looking to do was get rid of Saka, bring in Zaha, captain him, get rid of Salah, and bring in Son. And then if I wanted to take the extra hit, but again, if I'm taking the extra hit, I don't know who I'm playing, to be honest. If I take the extra hit to bring in somebody, do I bench any one of those players? I'm not sure, to be honest. And I already have 5 doublers. I think that's probably fine. The only one that I'd be missing would be the likes of a Richarlison, let's say. And Richarlison had a double game week this week, and he scored nil points. That's 0, by the way. And a lot of managers were taking Kane out to get him in and whatnot. So, again, we'll have to see. Richarlison had a chance to score, but I think that would be probably my team, unless I wanted to just be and go Son captain and go real heavy on Spurs, but they play the first game of the week, so we'll probably go with the doubler with Zaha, I think. Kulusevski to the bench, maybe Kulusevski to the bench. Maybe I cover Arsenal. I don't like to use that word. And I, get rid of Kulusevski and bring in Nketiah, or I would go instead of Pukki, I could bring in Richarlison for a hit, and then play Richarlison over Nketiah. And then either him or Zaha would be my captain like that. I don't really like benching Kulusevski. I think Kulusevski's quite good. I think benching him versus Burnley at home seems very problematic, to be honest. I think if I'm going to bench him, I should bench Matip over him potentially, because, Matip could easily just randomly not play. Yeah. That would be for -4. I'm not opposed to that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. So the only thing is that if we go ahead to the next game week. So this is what the team looks like on the last day of the season. So, Nketiah comes in for Coutinho, because we ain't playing Coutinho versus Man City. Laporte comes in for Cash. That's no problem there. Kulusevski comes in for Gordon. And then are we playing Richarlison away to Arsenal? It depends on the situation. So, I don't know if Richarlison, if Everton already have it locked up by then maybe I could go for somebody different. I could use that free transfer to get, somebody. I could still go Cash. Is Alonso 5'7"? Alonso is 5'7" currently, because they have Watford at home. So I could go Coutinho to, Mount as an example. Oh, no, I can't. I'm short of that. Who would I go? Or I can go Cash to Zinchenko on the final day of the season and play him over Richarlison. Zaha's fine on the last day. Zaha at home to United? What? That's 3 points. 3 points. Not 3 points, free. Obviously, we wouldn't captain Zaha. We'd captain probably Son. Or Kane. One of the two. That's the only issue that it causes by doing that. Unless we weren't opposed to taking a hit on the final day of the season. Yeah, triple captain. Yeah, he's at home. Triple captain Zaha. Yeah, so if we reset this game week, so this is the team we would play. Laporte's injured. as it stands currently. But I play Gordon over. It's weird because I'm not sure who I would play, Matip or Laporte, in a straight up battle. I think probably Matip is probably more likely. Maybe I'd play Nketiah over both of them. I'm not sure. We'll have to see kind of how the FA Cup goes. I think Arsenal could be on the downturn. Maybe I do go for Nketiah, but maybe the smarter play. So like this is what I was gonna do this week. So I was gonna go Salah out. I'm definitely getting Son. I'm getting Son 100%. My mind is made up on that. Maybe the smarter play is to do this. So, is to bring in either Richarlison or Zaha. They come in for Matip. They're the captain. Let's just say this could be Zaha too. It doesn't matter. And then on the final day of the season, it makes it a little bit easier because I still have Saka. Cash can then drop to the bench. Coutinho can drop to the bench. Gordon can drop to the bench for somebody that we bring in, but we have a little bit extra money to go Coutinho to somebody. A little bit extra money. If we go back and we did, instead of Saka, we went for Zaha, and so we didn't do the Richarlison move. Gordon would come in for Laporte. Unless there's something that I find out that Laporte's basically injured for the season. Zaha would be the captain. Then on the final day of the season, you got Nketiah can come in for Gordon. Laporte comes in for Cash. And then I have 2 million to do whatever I want. So I can go Coutinho to somebody. Let's say we go Mason Mount. That's an option. And then we can upgrade. So we can, if we think that Reece James is going to play, we can do Cash to Reece James for a hit on the final day of the season. If we don't want to play Zaha and go 5-3-2. It's just, what do I want to do this week? Do I want to be conservative with the double game week and save myself for some last minute madness on the final day of the season? That's what I want to do, because this week here, I don't think it's going to be that big. I currently have 4 double game weekers. Are they the best double game weekers? No, they're not. But I think the single double game weekers can do just as much damage. I think Brentford are a good team. I think Crystal Palace are a good team. I think Everton can find it difficult. I think Crystal Palace are a good team. I think Burnley are a stubborn team and could cause Villa some problems. I think Chelsea's a good team versus Leicester. Watford aren't. But which Leicester players are going to play? Because it seems like Brendan Rodgers rotates whoever he feels like it. Because they really have nothing to play for, to be honest. And if Madison's like, yo, give me some extra days off, Brendan Rodgers might be like, all right, sure, whatever. So my plan was to do this. Is just go Salah to Son. And then captaincy-wise, probably just throw the armband on him. First game right out the gate. The versus Burnley. Who cares? Go for it. I know the early kickoff's always a bad idea. Yada, yada, yada. I get it. Nketiah over Matip. So it's Matip basically getting a clean sheet versus... So what I have to hope is basically Liverpool keep a clean sheet and Salah doesn't score. And then Spurs go crazy versus Burnley, which I hope that they will. Then it's a matter of should I play Nketiah over Kulusevski or whatever. Again, not captain double game weeker feels wrong, to be honest, but that will give me 2 free transfers on the final day of the season, which will make things much more interesting. So I can have Laporte in. He can cover Cash. I don't have to worry about him. Nketiah can come in for Gordon. Now the team's looking much stronger. We can do 2 free transfers here. We can do Coutinho. Can I get... How much would I have to go down to get De Bruyne? Or like final day of the season, if I know like Sterling's playing or something like that, I can go any City midfielder with 2 frees, barring maybe De Bruyne. How much is De Bruyne? De Bruyne is 12. Yeah, so 2.8. The most I can get out of one of these guys is not very much, basically. So instead of De Bruyne, let's say we could go like Mahrez, we can go Sterling, if we know that they're going to play. And then Pookie can just downgrade to whoever, it doesn't matter. Also, if I feel that Salah, if I want to cover that, I can go Diaz. He's 8 million. And if I wanted to go, you know, instead of Nketiah, I wanted to go like a Reece James. I'll have like just enough to put him in. I'll put him in over maybe Kulusevski, maybe Nketiah. Who knows? If I want to go triple city defense, maybe I go Zinchenko. And go something like that. I can still, again, I can go Mason Mount here. This is also still fine. There's many different things I can do with 2 free transfers. If a game is so important and a penalty arrives, top 4 will be more important versus Golden Boot. Kane all day, unless maybe 3-0 up. Yeah, exactly. You know. But Son, like, the thing is, like, basically, Burnley at home. Son's been really good at home. So I'd probably go for him. He's the man in form. Son's basically shooting on sight at the moment. Like, when he gets the ball. And Son didn't even play well in the game today, by the way. The only thing that he did that was really good the whole game was the cross to Bentancur. His goal was very fortunate, and his assist was very fortunate too. Because that could have easily been Kulusevski. If it was a handball in the box, Kulusevski would have got the assist, which would have been brilliant. And his goal, I mean, Kane only doesn't get an assist because Gabriel's bad, to be honest. And just kind of falls over. A versus B draft. Sure. Let's take a quick look. Draft A. Draft A looks good. Or draft B. So basically draft B is no De Bruyne. But you have Trent and you have a better fullback. Probably go draft A. To be honest. Draft day has De Bruyne, which is like more of an upside pick, I guess, but if you didn't go De Bruyne, yeah, I don't know. But if you wanted to go like differential city, you can go like Vardy or something like that. Vardy would be the real interesting one. A lot of people are sleeping on Jamie Vardy at the moment. Let me actually put out the differential picks over on Twitter while I'm thinking of it. Vardy is a gamble versus Kane, though. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Watkins and Digne are annoying in FPL. They very much are. I think one of my rules this next season is going to be never get Digne no matter what. Okay, let me close out of that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, this is how the team currently sets up. Schmeichel in goal, Trent, Matip, Cash, Cancelo, Gordon, Salah, Saka. Coutinho currently has captaincy, but I'll most likely either whoever I bring in will probably get the armband, probably. Kulusevski and Kane. Laporte will probably find himself on the bench if he's fit. I don't know what I'm going to do. Nketiah and Pukki. So Nketiah will probably go first sub, to be honest. But yeah, not really sure. Yeah, Digne had an absolute train wreck. He's just an FPL troll. Him and Sterling are the two FPL trolls. When you don't have them, they score boatloads of points. When you do have them, they do absolutely nothing, or they're just absent. But yeah. So let's move over to the Fantasy Football Scout screen one more time before we sign off. So Fantasy Football Scout, it's still not too late. You can sign up. It'll still, I believe it continues over to the next year. But if you want to wait to the preseason, there is a preseason discount where you save 20% off. So make sure to check it out. And yeah, Fantasy Football Scout's going to help elevate your FPL game. And it'll be here next season too. So make sure to keep locked in for that. Now, let's move over to the big screen. So that's going to do it for the Game Week 37 preview. We'll be doing the free hit video tomorrow, so make sure to check out that. It's going to be 2 drafts. I'll be doing it on the transfer planner on FPL.team to make it much easier. You'll be able to see kind of my thought process, what players I'm thinking of. I'm going to do more of a safe one. That's going to be a draft where if you need to just basically hold. Like, let's say you're in the top 1K and you need to use a free hit and you just want to hold. Cool. Or you're in the top 10K, top 100K, or you're satisfied wherever your rank is. And then I'm going to do one that's going to be a bit more risky. You're down in the dumps and you want to go for something. You want to roll the dice one last time. I'll do one of those as well. So make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Like I said, free hit video will be out tomorrow. Deadline stream is on Sunday. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I just realized that we have to... So the first game is... Wait, so I have to... Ooh, I gotta be up super early for that. Might not do that time. That might be a bit too early, to be honest. Yeah, that's early. I might do the deadline stream on Saturday evening, so we'll see. And then I'll preview it. I'll premiere it or something. I don't know if that's a bit early. That means I gotta get up at 5. start the stream 5:30. That's a bit, that's a yikes. But we'll see. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.